आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम। नगर नगर ये ग्राम और ये गलियारे, भरने इनमें नवजीवन के उजियारे। नगर नगर ये ग्राम और ये गलियारे, भरने इनमें नवजीवन के उजियारे। बार बार हम दोहराते हैं यही कसम, यही कसम, यही कसम। आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम। हमें हटाना घर घर से अंधियारा है, हमें तोड़नी पाखंडों की कारा है। हमें हटाना घर घर से अंधियारा है, हमें तोड़नी पाखंडों की कारा है। सच को कहने वाली चलती रहे कलम, चलती रहे कलम। आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम। कदम मिलाकर नर नारी सब और बढ़े, ज्ञान और विज्ञान नए सोपान चढ़े। कदम मिलाकर नर नारी सब और बढ़े, ज्ञान और विज्ञान नए सोपान चढ़े। देना है संदेश यही हमको हरदम, यही हमको हरदम। आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले हम, आशाओं की किरण जगाने वाले हम, जन जन से संपर्क बढ़ाने वाले।
Good evening, friends. Today my topic is producing a documentary. As we all know that we are living in the age of digital revolution, and during last 2 decades we have witnessed the mobile communication revolution also. Now half of the population, India's population, is owning digital smartphone, and we all can capture images, videos, and we keep on sharing it on social media platforms. In this background, the importance of visual becomes very crucial, and documentary, photography, and all other visual media becomes very relevant. And for media teachers, media students, media professionals, the importance of visuals has also increased manifold. I will be talking about, and I'll try to take you to the journey, how the documentary is produced, what are the nuances of documentary productions. Definitely, documentary is an intellectual work, and it involves a lot of technicalities. It involved lot of intellectual things also, scripting, teamwork, and lot many things. Let us first discuss about the meaning of documentary. Documentary, the basic word is document. Document, which is called in Hindi as dastaveज. Documentary is nothing but documenting the reality on the reel. In fact, documentary is a non-fictional format of television and film. You must be knowing about two broad classification of television programs. One is fictional, another one is non-fictional. Fictional formats are based on some story, whereas non-fictional programs are reality based. Documentary is also non-fictional format of television and cinema, and nowadays YouTube has provided wonderful platform for documentaries, and lot of people, millions people, they watch documentary on YouTube. A non-fictional film that provides a factual report on a particular topic captured during actual occurrence. This is also important, that whatever you are capturing as and when it is happening, sometimes reenacting events through some acting is also used in documentary, but to a certain extent. Sometimes we use images, videos, animation, graphics, and interviews also. Interviews of the people who are involved in the real events. This way, documentary is documenting the reality, and the emphasis is on factual content without any modification, without any manipulation also. And one more important thing is, this is not for entertainment. Maybe you might get entertainment out of the tourism documentaries, but the basic purpose of documentary is to document the factual events, factual content. There are 4 important things need to remember while we think about documentary. One is facts, documents, reality, and truth. History only. Documentary can be dedicated on one person, about the life journey of person. For example, if we produce a documentary on the life of Mahatma Gandhi, Rabindranath Tagore, or Makhanlal Chaturvedi, that will be a profile documentary. We all love watching tourism documentary also, because tourism documentary gives us a feel of traveling, virtual traveling. Documentary can be dedicated for the purpose of education also, and it can be political, it can be on scientific issues, scientific problems, and any other contemporary issue also. And nowadays corporate sector is also using documentary for its image building. And if you visit any big media house or big corporate house, you would see that 10 minutes or 15 minutes documentary will give a broad picture of that house. In India, there is long history of documentary making, and after independence, many documentary makers, they have been working on different areas, different aspects of life. Like Mike Pandey is known for wildlife and environment, whereas two Bedi brothers wonderful work in the field of wildlife. Anand Patwardhan is a political documentary maker. His documentaries based on contemporary political issues have been very controversial and very talked about content. Anwar Jamal has been making on social and cultural issues, and Gohar Raja is known for his historical and science documentaries. Sabah Diwan is specialized on various women issues. Ashwin Kumar, social issues. That way, this is Anand Patwardhan. You must have seen, because he is one of the leading and renowned documentary makers of India. And this is Gohar Raja, Ashwin Kumar, and these are Bedi brothers. Bedi brothers have worked on wildlife actually, and their documentaries and their footage have been used by Discovery and National Geographic channels across the world. In international National Geographic magazines also, their photos and their work have been recognized. And this is Sabah Diwan and Anwar Jamal. All right. Let us begin with the process of documentary making. First and foremost is developing the idea. Obviously, when you will start producing a documentary, the fundamental basic question comes to anybody's mind is, what will be the topic? What will be the topic? And any topic that is based on the need. What is the need of the society? What is the latest in the society? And that is the result of brainstorming among the people, among the team members, among the experts also. And for example, the broad area is environment. Now a lot of people, they are working on environment. How would you frame the topic? Because environment is also not one small topic, it has many dimensions. There is climate change, there is impact of bad weather, there are impacts on farmers or the urban population. This is framing of topic, means from which perspective, which particular area you would cover in your documentary. Environment is so big that it cannot be covered in one documentary. It's always better to frame your topic. What will be the concept? How would you treat that topic? Because every topic has many perspectives. It's not always possible to treat the topic to covers all perspectives. It's always advisable that focus on one small area of one small perspective of a topic and go into deep. And this is also important thing that you need to take care about the interest generation, because audience is very important and you are not making it for just recording, you are actually making for the audience. What is the interest level, what is the knowledge level of the audience, and how would you sustain the interest of the audience? That is important thing. What are the creative elements you would keep? Maybe some interesting visuals, maybe some interesting interviews, maybe some interesting images or videos. Those creative elements to sustain the interest of the audience need to be taken care well in advance. Before any documentary production, you must remember that any documentary is an intellectual work. Research is very important for any documentary production, and in pre-production part, research is done. Once the topic is decided, the research work starts on. Sometimes it takes more than 1 year to research on a particular topic. There are broadly two sources. One is primary source, another one is secondary source. Primary sources are people who are on the locations, people who are related to the topic, and even before shooting the production, shooting the film, you visit those places and talk to the people to get an idea actually. And secondary sources are books about those topic, or you might search on internet also. You can see previous productions, various newspaper cuttings, government records, and many people, because they are associated with that topic, they rely on the self experiences also. Once the research work is over, we start the work of scripting. Scripting cannot be finalized in one go. First, we start with the idea and we start working on the first draft. What are the ideas? What are the images? What are various characters? What are various places also? Concepts. Because in science and many complicated subjects, concepts are also very important. Historical documentaries, they rely on various events. One by one, you will unfold various events. Dreams, fantasies. There are documentaries which are related to some psychological aspects of the life, and they talk about that. Memories also, because script writers sometimes he or she rely on the previous experiences, real life experiences, and sometimes you focus on social issues, social problems also, and you take help of the newspaper clippings, magazine articles, literature related to that topic, and you actually try to go into deep of the history also. Scripting work requires an expertise actually. That's why in the documentary production team, one script writer has to be there. Sometimes the director and producer, he or she himself, they write the documentary themselves only. When I say think visual, think simple, it means documentary basically is a visual format, and if your visuals are not engaging, not attractive, it will not be a good documentary. The format of the documentary should also be simple, and that will happen when your entire thinking process would be simple. Story narrating and the storytelling should be in a simple format. It is always advisable to make a list of various shots even before shooting. It's always advisable to visit the locations where you are going to shoot, because that will give an idea what will be the future challenges while shooting. Pre-visits actually will connect you to the actual location, and sometimes we go with small still camera or the video camera also, and during pre-visits we take some shots, sample shots, that will give you an idea that what will be the lighting level and what kind of shots you are going to have in the final shoot. Sometimes reconstructions are also required, and you can plan in advance that who will reenact, who will act in the reenactment, reconstructions, and what will be the shots nature. And stock footage is also very important, because in case of historical documentaries, for example, we are making documentary on Mahatma Gandhi's life, you have to rely upon huge amount of stock footage. You need to visit libraries, you need to take permission from the government departments for using the stock footage, and sometimes you take help of the known people who are known in the public domain, because known people increases the credibility. For example, if you are making a documentary on Rabindranath Tagore, if there are people, children or relatives of Rabindranath Tagore's family, they would give the first-hand information, and that will increase the credibility of your documentary. While making a documentary, audience is very important. You have to have an idea about your audience, that finally after the production who will be the target audience. What is the level of knowledge of your audience? What is the age of your audience? Because knowing the audience is very important. If your audience is heterogeneous, if your audience is younger, if your audience is rural or urban, that actually gives you an idea that what kind of language would you use, what will be the storytelling or symbols or examples. These all things are important. In educational documentaries, in every documentary, it has to be decided in advance that what is the level of information of your target audience. Because if you are discussing about very intricate, complicated topics, you have to have an idea that what is the base level of information. Visual literacy is also important, because if you are making a documentary for remote audiences, remote villages people, there you cannot use such kind of expressions which are usually familiar with urban audiences. You have to have an idea of the level of audience. In documentary, there can be various formats. Like in traditional format, there are three things usually used. One is visuals, then bite and voiceover. Visuals, we all know, bite is a small portion of interview, which are relevant portions of the interview, and voiceover is when you record the voice, overlay the voice on the visuals. This is also a question whether there will be an anchor in the documentary. You need to decide in advance. Nowadays, many documentary makers, they don't use any anchor. They don't use any voiceover even. They are experimenting with the things and they use only visuals and bytes. No voiceover from the side of anchor. Only narration by the actual people. And this is kind of participatory mode also. There is only one golden rule, that there is no golden rule, because people are free to experiment with the format. First learn the grammar, then break the grammar. As a documentary makers, you have certain limitations also. You cannot have unlimited time, unlimited resources. The biggest constraint would be of fund, because the time is limited, money is also limited. Your sponsors need is also very important thing. It needs to be taken care of, because anybody, for example, the state government is assigning you a particular documentary. There is a purpose. If tourism department of Madhya Pradesh is commissioning a documentary that we want to cover all major tourist attractions in that documentary, and the purpose is to attract the domestic audience, domestic tourist or international tourist, so you need to have an understanding of that need also. And of course there would be a time limit. You cannot shoot for unlimited periods. There are certain legal issues also, because whenever there is a camera in certain locations, on certain topics also, some legal permissions need to be taken, and season is also important. You as a director, as a producer, you have to have an understanding that in which season that particular area, that particular topic can be shot well. For example, in most of the tourism documentaries, usually the director producers, they prefer after monsoon, like winter season is most preferred season. And there is a limitation of equipment also. According to the fund constraints, you decide which kind of camera, which kind of lighting, which kind of audio equipments would be used. And there is certain limitation of the personnels also, like the team members you are hiring for that purpose. Because if you are hiring people from Bhopal, they have certain background, certain limitations, expertise limitations. If you are hiring people from Mumbai, they have their own experience, exposure. Maybe they are better than the people in Bhopal, maybe they are better than the people in Delhi, but that will ultimately impact the budget also, because you have to hire, you have to pay them to come over to Bhopal, and in Bhopal people and trained people, they would be charging lesser amount. Mainly scripting work is done by the scriptwriter, but in some cases, as I told you, director and producer, they also contribute in the script, and sometimes both the persons are same. Usually rough script is prepared before the shooting, and the format is split page script. The purpose of split page script is to have an idea of narration of the sequence of the shoot, and there are visual details. Actually scripting helps, rough scripts help the director helps the camera persons also that what is the story sequence of the documentary and what kind of shots are required. This narration is also tentative, there would be a list of people who are to be interviewed, list of questions to be asked, and there would be a detail about the locations and entire production plan. Nowadays, many computer softwares are also there who have their own format and they help in scripting software. You can see that this is one example of split page format of script. On the left side there is video, on the right side there is audio. Map of Georgia, then narrator says Martin Luther King Jr. was born in Atlanta, Georgia on January 15, 1929. This is narration, voiceover. On the left side you see drawing, painting of children playing. This actually helps the camera person, helps the director what kind of shots are required, and this goes on. This is MS. MS means medium shot. Sometimes in script writing it is written over there that what will be the nature of shots, whether this is long shot, mid shot, or close-up shot, or what will be the angle of camera, and this way the production is helped by this kind of script. Later on this script is edited, and before the final editing one more script is prepared basing on this, and that is called editing script. We must learn about the importance of Reiki. Reiki, as I told you, is pre-visit. Pre-visit means before shooting, after the draft script, you actually visit the places of location. Visit the location, meet the people, and try to foresee what kind of difficulties you would be facing while shooting. Actually, this is part of pre-production. This is very important because this will give an idea, this will provide you an idea that how many days would it be taking, and what will be the duration of shoot, and how many people would be available, and in which season, actually which season, or daytime or afternoon time or morning time, or how much travel time it will be requiring, and where would the team would stay, and what will be the food arrangement. Production manager actually goes with the producer and director while doing Reiki. Let us know about the equipments which are used for the production of a documentary. Usually the directors and producers, they hire the equipment. They hire video camera, tripod, microphones, lights, reflectors, memory cards, and batteries. The choice of video camera is very crucial. It is decided basing on the total budget of the video camera, because the need of the funder, that is also important. If the company or the institution who is commissioning the documentary requires high quality video, we need to hire high quality video which is HD or more than HD. Nowadays 4K cameras are available, and sometimes some corporate houses, they ask for cinematic cameras also. Tripod is according to the need of the camera, and then microphones, lights. Light, if you are going for some reenactment, reconstruction of the story, artificial lights would also be required. Otherwise, most of the documentary makers, they prefer shooting in natural lights, because lights are very heavy and you have to hire lights and you have to carry all those lights. If you are shooting in jungles, you cannot have so many lights with you because they are heavier, and more or less you require batteries also for them, because in jungle you don't have power plug connections. Reflectors are easy to carry. Memory cards, how much shoot you need to take, and booking and launching arrangements also. Booking of food and hotels and hiring vehicle for transports is also one area we need to take care in. We can divide the entire process of production into 3 steps. One is pre-production, second is production, and third one is post-production. As the name itself is telling, the pre-production is which is done before the production. Usually the work is started with the person who is called director, researcher, and scriptwriter. These 3 persons, they start working on the film, and they discuss with themselves, and they start the work of research, visiting people. Sometimes scriptwriter and researcher both are same person. Only 2 people are working in the beginning. Production is the work of actual shooting. Once the script is prepared, then the director, producer, and scriptwriter, they hire the team, other people's team. They hire the camera person, they hire the light persons also, and this way sometimes sound expert is also very important team member. Production manager is who is actually looking after the arrangement of the entire production work. And after the shooting work is over, post-production work starts. Now the director, now the camera person, light person, sound person, they are not hired for post-production work. Their work is over during the production. Now the post-production work starts with director, scriptwriter, and video editor. Video editor plays very important role in the post-production work. Sometimes graphics experts help is also taken. Nowadays, in most of the video editing softwares, graphics element is inbuilt. And voiceover artist is when you are using narration. When you are using voiceover in your documentary, you need to hire specialist voice, male voice, female voice. Once you are on the location, the question arises that what to shoot and how much to shoot. The basic formula is that the camera person should take as much shots as he or she can, but the shots quality should be varied from different angles, because diversity in the shooting, variety of shots always help in editing, and useless shots become useful sometimes on editing also. Like on location, sometimes you see that this you might think that this particular shot is not very useful, but let us take that shot. Maybe that would be later on used while editing. Why I'm saying that as much as? Because you are not coming here again. Once you are in the studio back, you cannot visit the location again, and visiting that location is an costly affair. One more question comes to your mind, that how much should we shoot? Usually it is 10 time footage of total duration of production. That is the ideal rule. It doesn't mean that you cannot shoot more than that, but usually if the documentary is of 30 minutes duration, 5 to 6 hours total shoot is advisable. After the shooting is over, the process of logging begins. What is the process of logging? Logging is when shot wise, sequence wise, you are actually logging the raw footage. This raw footage is in the form of various clips. In digital format, if you transfer it on the computer, there would be a series of clips, clip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this way. You need to number actually all those clips, and you need to arrange all those clips date wise and location wise. Why this is required? Because once you hire the editing table, editing room, that is also a costly affair, and the moment you enter into the editing table, your rent, your charges would start. That way all the preparations are done in advance, and you have to make a huge list of shots, what kind of shots are required as per the requirement of the script. And you need to log the interviews also. For example, if your interview is 20 minutes but your interview is 10 minutes long, you are not using the entire interview in your documentary. Which portion, which particular bite you are finally using for the documentary, you need to log that in advance, so that while doing the editing, immediately you will reach, you will access, you can access the particular bite. Marking important usable portion of the interview is done in advance. And why is it so important? Because editing is very costly. Entire editing setup is very costly. Usually it is hired on rent basis, hired on shift basis, and we need to convert the shooting script into editing script also. Once it is clear that what kind of shots we have, it's always possible that you were expecting certain number of shots, but at the time of logging you found that shots are not there. On the same side, sometimes you have certain extra shots also. Sometimes you have footage from the stock, sometimes you have still images also. So all those shots and visuals you need to have well in advance, queued before editing, and on the basis of that only you will transform the shooting script into editing script. This is the example of editing script. Now there is difference between shooting script and editing script. Shooting is for shooting purpose, and we don't have clear idea what kind of visuals do we have, and we have a rough structure of the sequence of the story, sequence of the documentary. But now in case of editing script, visual input is very much clear. What kind of visuals, graphics, what kind of videos, still images do we have? So that way now the narration is re-edited, modified, and everything is well defined, because now it's final. Sometimes we call it final script also. Before going for the final shooting, we need to prepare certain graphics also. Usually graphics are used in documentary, like there is a title plate, there are maps if it is historical documentary, some educational documentary. We need to have the title plate in the beginning, maps used in the middle, and data tables also, because in science documentaries, historical documentaries, educational documentaries, lot of data is used, illustrations are used. The purpose is how to analyze, how to portray the topic, how to deal with the complexity of the topic. Purpose is to engage the audience. It's always advisable that don't use heavy data. Use interesting animation, use interesting charts, illustrations, and supers also. Supers are the nameplates. Whenever you are taking some interview of some expert, taking interview of the common man, you need to give the name, you need to give the designation also. And if the bite person, if the person, expert person, is talking in a language which is not understandable to your audience, you need to translate it into Hindi or English, whatever it may be. And in the last, we use credit line. Who are the team members who worked for the documentary? Voiceover is also quite important element in any documentary, and we cannot expect that the scriptwriter or editor or any director has to do the voice. No, there are voiceover artists in the market, and we need to hire the professional voice. And hiring professional voice is quite costly. Usually they charge 30,000, more than 30,000 for half an hour film in one language. Usually the voiceover artist is chosen on the basis of the need of the documentary. What is the mood of the documentary? What is the requirement, whether male voice is required or female voice is required? What is the pace of documentary, pitch of documentary? Sometimes we produce documentary in one language, but we try to dub it in another language. Like at national level, we produce a documentary in English, then we do it get it dubbed in various Marathi, Bangla, or Hindi, or Gujarati languages, and as per the requirement of the funder. This is a typical example of editing suite. Editing table usually has a number of computers, speakers, audio consoles, memory cards, and keyboards. This is Apple based Final Cut Pro system. There are many other editing tables also, like Adobe Premiere Pro nowadays getting more popular among professionals. We need to hire. If you have Final Cut Pro at your home, at your office, that is wonderful. Otherwise, we need to hire the editing table. This is an image of Final Cut Pro workspace, and you can see that on the left side there is a pane in which there are clips. Each clips first imported in the software, and these two windows, in window A, window B, one is to see the clip, and second one is to see the final edit. And in the bottom you can see that there is a timeline, and on the right side corner, bottom side, you can see the audio controls are there. Timeline, there is a video streaming on that, and there are two channels of audio, and editing is done on the non-linear mode, and this is how the things are done. Usually with the editor, director, or the scriptwriter, or any other person who helps in designing the things sits, and he or she would be directing or suggesting which shot should come after which. Once the editing is over, question arises: how would you approach your audience? How would you show it to the world? One mode of showing it to the